Thank you. I want to speak a little bit about Ruth de Guzman. Ruth passed away on April 15th, at the age of 52. She was a daughter, sister, aunt, cousin, friend, and colleague. She was someone who lived with quiet strength, deep kindness, and an unshakable devotion to the people she loved and the work that she believed in. Ruth was an integral part of a loving, close-knit family. After her parents passed away, she dedicated herself to supporting and caring for others. She was quiet by nature, but those who knew her best understood that beneath the quiet exterior was a heart full of generosity and care. She looked after her grandmother, her cousins, nephews, and aunts, always making sure her family had what they needed. She also looked after her brother, even from a distance, while he lived in the Philippines. Her Aunt Loth shared how Ruth carried much of life's burdens silently, never wanting to trouble anyone else. She gave her family space, but she was always there, cooking for them, bringing gifts, sitting quietly by her grandmother's side. Just days before Ruth passed away, she visited her grandmother. It was a Saturday, a day she didn't usually visit. She sat by her bed, held her hand, and embraced her, as if she knew it was time to say goodbye. Ruth also found joy in life's simple pleasures. She loved animals. She loved her dog Tyler. When Tyler died, she was bereaved. But her heart opened again when Monette's son brought home a dog named Beauty. Ruth was full of joy. She loved to travel, to go camping or glamping. She enjoyed taking her family out to eat. These outings were her way of sharing happiness. Professionally, Ruth was unmatched. In her dedication as a respiratory therapist, she poured her energy, compassion, and expertise into her patients. Her work was not just a job, it was her calling. She was, as family said, married to her career. Even when she wasn't feeling well, she kept showing up for others. Her dear friend and co-worker, Melody, who knew her for more than 20 years, described Ruth as not only a colleague, but family. Ruth was godmother to her son, Tyson, and a sister in all ways that matter most. Melody remembers Ruth as sweet, thoughtful, full of quiet joy. Whenever Ruth came home from abroad, she would bring gifts for family and friends. Whether she went to Vegas or Europe, Tahoe, Disneyland, even a bakery trip to LA. These trips were her way of finding joy and sharing with others. Her laugh, her smile, her positivity are gifts her friends will never forget. Washington Health, Melody said, will never be the same without her. Her sister cousin, Monette, shared how deeply Ruth cared for her patients, for her family. Ruth was always looking after Monette and her children, making meals, advocating, bringing presents at Christmas, making sure no one was left out. Monette says Ruth was at her mother's side when she passed in 2009, holding her hand in those final moments. From that day forward, she gave herself even more fully to her patients. She felt their grief and the loss more fully, at times crying when her patients passed away. She carried their struggles as if they were her own. For many of us, Ruth's passing leaves a deep ache. Family, friends, colleagues grieve not just the absence of her presence, but the future she should have had. Retirement, travel, laughter, memories. As Loth said in grief, why not me? Why her? She was still so young, with dreams ahead. It's hard to make sense of such a loss. But what we do know is that Ruth lived a life of meaning. She loved her family fiercely. She cared for her patients with tenderness and skill. She gave generously without asking for reciprocation. She carried burdens quietly to not burden others. She left behind a legacy of love, service, and quiet strength. Ruth's remains rest beside her mother, reunited with the one she held so close in life. But her spirit remains with so many of us. In the family she cared for, the colleagues she supported, and the countless patients whose lives that she touched. We will remember Ruth for her kindness, dedication, gentleness, and strength. May we honor her by carrying forward the love that she gave so freely, by supporting one another as she supported us, and by remembering that the soft-spoken among us often leave the loudest echoes in our hearts. Let's please observe a moment of silence in honor of Ruth the Visionary.